Hey, and welcome back to the live stream. So I'm super excited. We have a very good topic. It's V-Ray 3.6 coming out. So the stuff we're going to talk about is all the new features, and this is the list of the stuff we're going to talk about. We have advanced lighting. If someone can just confirm that you can hear good and the sound is good, that'll be great. Just on the chat. So we have let's see. We have the advanced lighting, the new UI. It's not so new, but like there is some adjustments in the UI. New texture, gradient, temperature, 3D texture, and all kind of interesting stuff that we're going to go over some of them. Viewport render, that's something new. Update denoiser, proxy animation, and proxy UI. It's a different modes of proxy, and volumetric environment. That's also something with the environment we're going to take a look about, and to import a scene and to reload the bitmaps. That's something we talked in the last session, and also SSS, that's subscatter, and GPU render. Okay, so we'll see what we're going to have, and we'll start with the first thing is the advanced lighting. So if just someone can confirm on the chat that the sound is good, if that's possible. Okay. Well, nobody is confirming, so I'll just go ahead and continue. Let me just spell. So this is the model we used. One second, let me. Okay, so this is the model we did the last session, and we had all those. I added some spotlights, so I choose this model to continue and talk about the new V-Ray features. So first thing, if you can see, they changed a little bit the icons, but not so much. A lot of difference, just a few small things, and that. So I want to go back to our list and see what we have. So the first thing is the advanced lighting. So basically on V-Ray we got under ray trace, under if you click here on this tab to have more settings, so you can see here there is advanced lighting, and that essentially will make the render faster. And you can see that on the video that this is the video that V-Ray put out, and they have here really examples of how advanced lighting is improving. Like, looks like 4 minutes compared to 29 minutes, so that's really good. So that's regarding the light. We're not going to do any demonstrations with that because rendering and broadcasting doesn't work so well on my computer, so I'll just this, you definitely need to check out this video, but we'll talk about all the other stuff. So that's the first thing, is the advanced lighting. The second thing we have is the new UI, and I want to point out all the points, or some of them. So if we look on the V-Ray, so if we look on the lights, so for the example on the lights we have here, so okay, there we go. I'm not sure for some reason. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there is a small delay. Okay, so there is sorry, I want to first of all, we had the last time we had a live chat, we had a small problem with the chat and everything, so I'm sorry about that. So what we can see here in the new UI is all those icons here, and once you click on them, it's actually will turn off the light. So if you want to, let's say, quickly turn off all the spotlights right away, so you can just click one of those, and here you can also change the intensity of each one of those lights. So that's very nice, very easy to handle. And also here we got also the color of the light. So let's say if we want to change this light, if you remember from the last, is very strong and very yellow. So let's say if we want to make it more subtle, we can just click here, apply or OK, and that's about the lighting. And also on the color picker, they did some nice adjustments, and you can see here they have like all those sliders, new slider, RGB, and also the hue and saturation and value. And what else they did here, they put all those swatches, and I really appreciate it. I think this is very nice. I think it's because you work and you flow with some theme, you know, you have the color and then you want to use it again. So for example, let's say I find a color that I like, let's say this color, and it's the current here. So if I right click on this empty box, I put it in the swatches, and that's pretty nice. And once let's say I hit OK, and let's say I want to use it for, I don't know, like let's say for something totally different. So let's say for a color of reflection or something. So if I go here and I wanted to use it on, let's say on the refraction, and I want to put here a color, so if I go here, I have it on the swatches, and that will be every project. I'll have my swatches and I can use them and change them. So that's very nice. I think that's very nice. And that's here also on the proxy. We also have, we can turn off the all those proxy, just clicking on the icon. So that's another thing they change in the UI. So basically those are the main changes. You can see also some color difference, but that's not like super major, and that's about it. So the next segment we have is the new textures, and that's include gradient and temperature and 3D texture. So we're going to talk about all the three of them. And actually, if you see in their video, there is like a cool effect that they have been doing all those red lines, and I was trying to work on it to get the idea of this cool thing for the tutorial. And actually I figured out how to do it. So that's pretty awesome. So let me just explain about it a little bit. So basically now you can create I was for a long time I wanted it to have here to have on V-Ray gradient map, and that's something that was missing. Sorry about that. So basically, how does the gradient map work? So if I just color it here with the new texture, and I want to add now a gradient map, so I'll go here and I'll click gradient map. So basically, those each one of those square is going to be one of those gradients, that whatever we see here. So if we're trying to do this line effect, you know, the light effect of they have been showing on their V-Ray presentation. So that's what we're trying to achieve. So what we want the gradient to be lying down. So instead on the U, we want it on the V axis, and then we want to have some colors like they did. You know, we'll keep it the same. So we just we'll put here, I think it's orange. You can put like kind of an orange, and then here we can put some reddish color, and we can add it to the swatches, so we can use it also on the other side. And then if we double click, we get another point, so we can add another and if we wanna lose one, so we right click twice. That's a pretty nice method to add in take off some points. So let's add one and change the color. 1 second. I don't know why it's this shows here red. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so now we have like a map, and if we are going to render, let's just put the sun on so we can see it, see the whatever we got. So no, the sun is not on yet. Sorry, here, there we go. There we go. So we get those red lines going across the image. Now what we want, basically, we want this to be emissive material, not so we're going to add a layer, and now copy this texture, and actually we could have just done it here, but whatever. And now it's a emissive material, and we have this as a light, so we can increase the value, make it strong, and make it so. The trick to make the lines like they did is basically by the texturing. So if we move it like here, and we take this over here, and we squash the texture like something like this, and we cut this down to here. Now we can like adjust this texture position, make this like exactly on. So now we have it like UV mapped, so we have a new line, and with the light. Now what we're missing is the, you know, this nice smooth edge that that makes it nice, like a light. Now you can then stretch it. You can like stretch it and make it more like narrow and more longer if you want, but that's the idea. And now we select this, and here what we did here on the transparent mode, we put another gradient, and that defines that the UV ends on the end. So let's do the same here. So basically on the transparency, we're going to use a black and white, and we're going to use a gradient, and we are going to use, instead of UV or something like that, we're going to use the circle, and we can add another point here, and let's do it black, so we have a little bit black, and then just to get a little bit further, and you would like to choose maybe the smooth so we get like the nice smooth effect. And now if we go like here, it's a little bit hard to see, but like on the wall, on the, okay, so the problem now that we have this BRDF material, so we can delete this, and now it's transparent. So basically we created, I'm sorry if it's too fast. I have some questions here. I'll do answers in a little bit. So now we have done it, and let's see the new one. So we got a new one. So that's, I think that's pretty cool. I think this feature is very nice, and you can probably make it a little bit, I don't know, opaque, and probably with a nice scene, it'll look very nice and very awesome. So okay. So that's I think that's another new feature, and that's the gradient. And I believe there is a lot of stuff you can do with gradient, and I always wanted to have, because there is all kind of idea to merge all kind of materials and have all kind of stuff, and that's I think that can help a lot, this gradient map. So this is the gradient map. After that, we have something very, very, very good, and that's mainly for architects and designers. So I really appreciate it. And what is that? Is the temperature material. So basically, the temperature material is one second here we are. So let's say you have a light, and the light usually works with Kelvin. If when you go by light, so there is like all kind of you know how yellow it is or how white it is. So it goes like in the ladder of Kelvin numbers. So up to today, you needed to, like, you know, guess what kind of color is that the light is. But now what they did is you can add a material, like let's say we go to this spotlight, and we want it to be on let me show you the chart, okay, of the Kelvin. So here you can see how in real life the colors are working. So like you have the 1500, and then you have till 900, and this indicates how warm your light going to be. So let's say you're trying to achieve like a realistic light and the same color. So back to SketchUp, the way to use it is if you go on any of those spotlight and you add here a new map, and the map is temperature, and you choose here under, instead of RGB, temperature. If you put the value, let's say you put 1500, you get the same yellow that is in the chart. So basically you can match the real color. So that's nice. I would like it. I think it's nice, even though you probably could get the value without that, but it's still a nice feature to have. And okay, so back to we moving pretty fast. We are now on we did the materials, and we have the 3D texture. So basically the way they did now the materials, and that's all the mapping. So I don't know what color I'm in, but whatever. They changed it to like categories. So we have here the temperature, the gradient, the sky, all of those and then you have all kind of mix maps, and then you have a 2D texture, and then you have a new segment in that 3D texture. And all the point with the displacement is working much better here on the all the displacement work. All the placement works much better on the new V-Ray. So those are the sorry, I was explaining and I was on the wrong sorry. Okay, so here I'll start again. Sorry about that. Okay, so basically the way now the mapping is, so you can see here you have here all the bitmap and the gradient and the temperature, and then here you have some all kind of things that you can combine, color correction and mix colors and stuff like that. And here you have the 2D texture that like you can use for water and stuff like that, and grid and stuff like that we have tutorials on, but we had a few tutorials on this. And here you have the noise and the 3D texture that's like you can use them to make like bumps and stuff like that, and those are they work pretty good. And also you got here on the material, now you have here on under map the displacement works much better. So for this example I just did some displacement for this this floor, and I added the same bump map that we color correct. We took out the color from the same diffuse. We took the diffuse and we took a color correction, and we put the image, and we took all the saturation, and we just light, and we put it here and also here. And now there is like a nice displacement on the floor, and that's pretty nice. Like you want to try to keep the values low, and you can also change the type to 2D displacement, and that also will save on your rendering time, and also you probably will get better results for most of the stuff that you need. So that's nice. So you have that, and that's another improvement on the texture side. Okay, I'll just reading some comments. Okay, so the next thing we have here on our set is the viewport rendering. So that's pretty that's new, and that's pretty awesome. And I'll do some questions after this if you guys have any questions. So basically after if you want, you can create your whole viewport, your whole SketchUp viewport with this new button, and once you click it, this will take maybe a few seconds, because basically it will create the whole viewport as a 3D as a render, and you can move and everything. You need a really good graphics card, and this computer is not my best computer that I'm streaming on. Okay, and then you have another feature here, and you can just do like small sections, like you don't want everything to be the viewport, and you can go like that, and you know, just make a small section, and then you can cancel it whenever you had enough. So that's that's another feature. So let me go over on some. Yeah. So for the question, you will make a video on with the exterior design. So yeah, if you want, maybe we can do it. If you want, I was thinking maybe doing it every week. Maybe next week we can try to do something like that. So yeah, and any idea on? So basically, SketchUp 18 on the make, I think they canceled the make. I have a whole video on it on the feature. What's new on the SketchUp 18? So I have a separate video on it, and that's something that I have. And let me see. We just released it. Okay, so I'll need to check about changing everything there. So okay, so let's continue, and I just want to go over some other stuff. So that's the viewport rendering. So the next thing is the updated denoiser. So that's also pretty cool. So once you are render, yeah, let's say we render a scene. Yeah, let's cancel here. There we go. So I changed the color of the light so everything looks weird, but let's ignore that. Yeah, this can take a few seconds, so maybe I will do a different segment in the for now. Okay, so we have the update denoiser and then proxy animation. So proxy animation is actually a very cool thing that's they're showing in the video here in this part. So basically what you can do now, you can save proxy in different programs, not in SketchUp. So let's say you take the tree and you I think they're showing it here somewhere. You can take the tree and save it in a different program and add a small animation for the leaves. And then when you have it here, so this is the part they're showing it. So you can I guess in Blender is also a 3D software, so here they're saving a small animation on the sorry about that. So basically here they're showing they're saving a small animation on the trees, and then it comes with the proxy. So when you put the proxies in your model, yeah, you import all those proxies. Once you import those proxies, you get it with the animation. So and then you can turn on the animation, and if you take a close look on these frames, you can see the trees are moving a little bit, and that's super cool. Because think about it, maybe you can do driving cars or stuff like that. I don't know how advanced that's going to be, but that's a possibility. Like, and I don't know which programs you need to use for I don't know which programs you need for animating this stuff. Maybe you have like something free that V-Ray will bring will provide, but whatever. That's super cool. Okay, so the next I just wanted to show the updated denoiser. So here it's very bad quality, but the point is that if you go to denoiser, yeah, it's still working. Yeah, I guess, yeah. I guess it's still, yeah, it's still working here on the denoiser. So basically if you go here onto the denoiser, and it's still rendering. So the new thing about the denoiser is here under the denoiser you have this you have here strong and medium and default, and you can change it. Once you change it, you can click this thing at this updated icon, and this will update it, the denoiser. So this is now on strong and it takes forever, but basically the idea is if you have a denoiser that going on and you're not happy with the amount, you can change and add a different denoiser and then update it, because the denoiser is a path when after the render is done. So here, this is the path. Here, 1 second, let's see it. So after the render is done, you get like the computer calculate the denoiser. So you can see it right here on live action. So basically, as once you can see denoiser. So if the render is done, you can change the denoiser. So that's nice. That's like, you can, let's say you have too much denoiser, because sometimes the denoiser blur the image and you maybe don't want it. So I have here a question: Can you install the V 3.8 without having to? No. So basically, that's how they do it. They uninstall everything, and I had the same problem with the V 2. When the V 3 was out. So I didn't want to install it on, you know, to make it permanent, but they don't give you that option, unfortunately. That's answer for Archie. Yeah, sorry, I can't. Okay, so here you can see the denoiser, and well, I'm going to change it for, let's say, medium, and then update it. And basically what's going to happen is the denoiser is going to calculate again. This is very bad quality, I know that. Okay, we'll get to the GPU render. I'll get to that, and let's see what else we have. Okay, so the next thing after the update denoiser is proxy animation, and we talked about it, and then we have the proxy UI. So let's talk about the proxy UI. What I mean by proxy UI is the first NVRA 2, the proxy was pretty proxy was you could define how many segments you want and how many parts you want, and then in the V-Ray 3 they didn't give you the option, but now they give you it in more advanced. So let's say we want to do this chair proxy for this example. So I click export proxy. Once I click export proxy, I get all those options. So here, this option, the default option, gives you the option of how many segments you want to have from this chair. So I'll just go ahead and click export, and you see then not too much change. It's the same geometry, because maybe 1,000 is the same, it's the whole amount, but we can still change it. That's something very cool. If you go here and you find your proxy, so we got here the armchair, and that's a proxy, and you can change here for a box. So let's say now you know this box is define the chair, and this is pretty good, because for cars you don't need more than a box, or for leaves or trees or stuff like that. If you know what your stuff is, you don't need more than that. So that's one option, and then you have like just very minimal stuff. So that's like a few points, and this will be your proxy, and this probably is the best for the computer if you want that yeah, I need to find where's the I have so many windows open, and then you can have like a custom preview. So that's a bunch, and then here is the whole mesh. So basically you get the whole mesh back. And yeah, so basically those are the options, and this is something pretty awesome. So now you can have like box, and I think they're pushing, I think this is one of the best ways for the computer, or the box, or just a few lines. I like the box. I think that's what I'm going to use for the future proxies. The next thing on our list is the volumetric environment. So in a lot of programs there is the volumetric stuff, and basically what that means, so here we have we'll go for this. We have here a small park that I did for some school, and basically when you render, I'm not going to render the whole image, I'm just going to render a segment, and you can create this fog. So basically where you add it, you go here on the you go on here on volumetric environment, you turn it on, you have to turn it on, and then you need to change it because it will start with the aerial. So I'm going to put the interactive render so you can see, and you can see the difference. So basically I have a lot of windows open, and this is probably not the best way to run the program. Okay, so this is how the aerial looks like, and this is basically just very gray, but I think what you're trying to achieve is the environment fog. So you can add the environment fog, and then you can change the color to a little bit more tintish orange in some cases, and they have some cool demonstration, and then you can put it up or change it, and this is something that you can play on and on for a long time. And I was wishing it to have it, because I think this is something nice that you can use, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. So basically the changes are here. Just make sure you make the environment, and then play with the color, play with those two, and one of them is and the height. The multiplier is basically, I don't know if you need to play with it, but basically it's the light emissive, like it's emits some light. So I think it starts with 1, so that's about it. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but it's definitely something you want to try. So the next on the list is the import scene, and I think this is one of the cool things in the Sketchup. So we have here this park. I'm just going to stop the render. We have this cool park, and yeah, and I have also this. Let's just sorry, let me just get back to the work mode. Okay, so we have this park, yeah, and we want to take this park to a different model. I think this is one of the I think this is one of the coolest things you can do with I really liked it. So basically you have this model, and this could be a forest, this could be a background, this could be a lot of stuff that you want to add in other models that you have. So you go to the editor, and under the render you have here an option, this export V-Ray scene file, and let's just we'll just leave it on the name playground, just change the P so it'll be all capital, and that's it. So basically we export this as a proxy, and now let's say we are here in our different model and we want to add a backyard. So what we can do is we can import it. We go here and we have this playground, and we can just import the whole scene, and that includes the lights, materials, everything. It comes super light. You can add a few of those, but I think one is enough. And it's super light, and it's and if we render, we get everything as on the other scene. So that's, I think that's pretty awesome. I think this is one of the things. Now the thing about it, it's not only from SketchUp. You can have a whole scene in V-Ray Max, and then you can import it into SketchUp. So think about the possibility. Like in a few years, there'll be a bunch of very nice greenery or stuff like that from 3D Max, because 3D Max, one of the great, they have all those nice trees and everything. So you have a whole scene, and you could just import it in one piece into your model. So think about how nice that would be, like a background or like a garden or something like that. So I don't know, I think that's awesome. Back to our deck, we talked about the import scene and reload bitmap. So reload bitmap. So that's, we talked about it in the last video on the tutorial, and that's something that happens sometimes on V-Ray, that if you download models from the internet or something like that, let's take this for example. This is like really bad model, but whatever. No, I think in the park I had a good example. So here on the park, we have this sand, and if we go on the sand tab and we go here, we get this missing arrow. We are missing this file, and this is something that I talked about it and I show away, but V-Ray, they solved it in such an amazing way. Basically what you need to go to Window, Default Tray, Extension, V-Ray, and find Path Editor. This one, you click on Find Path Editor, and here you got all the bitmap, and all those yellow ones, or red or yellow, are the ones that are lost and you want to get them back. So basically you go and you select all of them, and then you click here and you save them on some place on your computer. So for example, I have an archive. I just made an archive for this video, and once you save them on your computer, they all became green, and that means if you go here, there's no question mark. That's awesome. That's nice. Yep. So, and then you can also like edit those are the materials. You can edit them, or do whatever you want with them. Use them, reuse them, and all of them. Or those are the bitmap. I think they are very small. They're probably whatever the model said. Okay, so that's another segment. Let's see what else we have. We have the import scene and reload bitmap and SSS. So SSS is subsurface scattering. So basically subsurface scattering is something like in wax or something like that. I'll make a new material so I can show it fresh. Let me just put it right here and take a material, just whatever, and okay, there we go. And on the V-Ray, okay, so we can add, sorry about that again. So we have here a candle, and this is made out of wax, and basically subsurface scattering is when the light goes into a material, and instead of going one way, or just it goes in like in some strange ways, like inside the material, and then it goes out. So that's the subsurface material. So you get like a waxy way. So to add a subsurface material, what you need to do is add here on the click and click subsurface material. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this blue and select all objects in scene and apply this subsurface material to it. Right, so, and here I can turn on my interactive render so you guys can see. I think the main change, because there was a subsurface material in the other version, but I think the main change they did that it's more responsive, and you can also use it when the GPU, like when you have it on the real-time render. So that's like now. So let's see what you can control here. You can control the scatter radius, so basically that'll make it more more transparent, and you can see it on the edges, or make it more less transparent, more opaque. You can play around with this, but this is the idea. I think it's very nice because it's easy, and you can make candles, and candles are always a big deal and very hard to make. One second, I have a small delay on the connection is bad. Let me see if I can figure it out. One sec. Here. Sometimes there is other applications that runs on the background, and it takes all the juice. I'm sorry about that. Everything here. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We did the subsurface material, and we can do now the GPU render. So I saved the GPU render for the end, and that's because unfortunately this computer is one of the computers with the not the best GPU, so it doesn't work here so well. So basically what you can do here, you can change swap to GPU render, and here, so it works. You can add CPU and GPU, and I have a TI 1050, so that's not the best, but it's okay. But earlier it wasn't working, and now it's working, so that's cool. And once you work on hybrid, it should work much faster. So that's the GPU render. And if you got any questions, or you want me to explain anything else, I'll stay here for a little bit, like chat with you guys. Thank you guys for joining in, and if you enjoyed it and you want more sessions like this, I have a good time, so let me know. I'm sorry about the connection here. Let me see what I can do. I'm rendering. Okay, I quit render. I see. Sorry. Yeah, now I see. Okay, let me show this again, and I see that I had a few problems. I'm sorry about that. I still rendering on. I have so much files that are going on. Oh my god. Here, let me stop this, and let me see if everything. Sketchup is rendering. Oh, not this. I'm sorry about all this mess. Okay, so we got this. Let's see if this is okay. That should solve it. Yeah, we are back. Okay, so we had a bunch of we had a bunch of problems here, and I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So here, I'll do again the recap for the rendering, GPU render. I had a few rendering going on, and let me show you. This is I think the most important thing in the whole updated. I'm sorry about all this mess, but here under the setting here, instead of CPU you have GPU. Once you go to GPU, you have this small arrow, and you can add C++ CPU, and this will make it hybrid. Once you make this, as for what I understand, this is the best way to render now. Okay, so that's about it. That's the whole deck that I got for you guys, and if anyone has a question, so I'll like chill out here on the chat for a little bit, and thank you for watching again, and please like and subscribe, share, comment, and thanks.